Hello, subscribers. I'm Quan Tracy Cherry, and on the screen is New Moon in Leo, which just sounds joyful. Leo's key phrase is I will. And we're in the Aquarius age in Pluto, collective, soulful, I will blow your cover every time. Pluto, because he's like our psychic detective. He'll call you in or he'll call you out. But it's up to you deciding how to do it. And if you want to be right, then Pluto's going to call you out. If you want to be heard, then Pluto's likely to call you in and do it privately. And we know one pet peeve with I am a law unto myself, Leo, which we all are. Our sun sign is how we are a radiant law unto ourselves. All of us are stars. So, yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it, right? So, radiant Leo is about the pride of accomplishment, not the wounded pride of that a lot of us still have because we use our minds as our authority instead of our hearts and our guts, right? Or even our spleens, right? But the point is that this new moon, I would normally be regaling how we need to find our inner child and play and do things that make us seem just really generous. Like the sun, when it comes up, it says, look, I'm going to shine on everyone, regardless of their political affinities, whether they've been canceled, whatever. The sun just shines. It radiates its best self, its best life. LML, love my life instead of the Pluto skepticism that leans into cynicism really easily. FML, fuck my life. Well, with Pluto in Aquarius, we are all looking at collectively, because Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus are generational planets. Anywhere from 7 to 30 years, they spend a slice of time in our cosmic skies. So we come in, and I just will say that as a Generation Jones individual, those of the souls that have been born after 1983 with Pluto in Scorpio and beyond, trans and beyond, tend to understand generational realities better than those of us born before 1983. It's not that us older people cannot get it. It just, we just came in at a different time where the ego and our minds and our intellect was supreme. But with the ability to check knowledge so quickly, and that we have a democratic ability, if we have a cell phone, if we have access to Bluetooth, because 40 to 50% of people still don't. So, anyway, our point here, our the oracle, what comes through and is spoken through me, even though I'm using this language of astrology and our raw material, a human way of self monitoring with Tavish Carter. Even though I'm using this language, there is a part of us that we allow communication to come through. And with Leo and Aquarius, because here we have the Leo energy up here, and in Kansas City, we have Scorpio rising. So in the middle of the country, the heartland, go a couple hundred miles either way, east or west of Kansas City, and you're going to get Scorpio ascending. So we can be talking about our people in Chicago, we can be talking about people in Denver. The point is, though, with Scorpio ascending, it makes transformation and regeneration and collective ego, collective willfulness as our guide. So here is, look at this. We've got Pluto exactly 180 degrees away from the sun and moon in Leo. Doesn't get much closer than that in terms of the ego must be checked at the door. Come from the heart, come from your authentic intelligence. Allow yourself to be multidimensional and rid yourself of all confirmation bias. If we just look at Leo as I will, and Aquarius being a transpersonal beyond the ego, we will, but their key phrase is I will, we will, I know we will. How about that? So as we move forward with Pluto and Aquarius, we are all cajoled, cajoled, manipulated, handled even into being heard versus being right. And this is bringing this Quan in Oh God, she who hears the cries of the world. That's causing me to tear up a little bit. How dramatic is that? Now we do have Neptune and Saturn over in Aries, retrograde. Now retrogrades and Mercury is also retrograde. So let's not get caught up in retrogrades are bad and forward moving planets are good. No, retrogrades just mean to review, means to look at things from an evaluate, to reevaluate, to restore, to renew. Just put RE in front of every word. So, what does Neptune and Saturn retrograde in Aries means is that we get to review our normal warrior impulses. And in Western culture, we honor the independent, certainly in Manifest Fucking Destiny America. Yes, there was a war that was fought, but it was split in the sense that the foundation of the Revolutionary War in America was not built on solid principles because women, I mean, we know the history, and we still haven't repaired that crack in our idealistic foundation as Americans. So, all Americans, no matter how you present, we have collective Aquarian karma around revolution, superiority, and inferiority. And with Mars over here, conjunct the south node of the moon, what victimizing energy did you get from the mother side of your family? Let me repeat that because the south node of the moon. So it's the womb that you were carried in, the ancestral pattern. And anything in Virgo is BDSM. So it's about, are you a victim or are you taking responsibility through monitoring the choices that you made that got you to that point of humiliation? So where do we go? We go to the Pisces side, and the Pisces side is over here in the fifth house or the fifth area of how we co create our reality. So once we realize that we are cause agents of our lives, right? We co create through chosen communities, through chosen environments. Yes, and this new moon with the Neptune and Saturn retrograde in Aries is not only about reevaluating what warrior independence means, but dissolving that ego impulse to act and then react, because acting and reacting almost always occurs within relationships. So the better we reevaluate, hello, Mercury and Leo, how we reevaluate our artificial intelligence, our mind as authority vis-a-vis our heart and gut, the more that we reevaluate and monitor that, the more we're likely to act purposefully, whether that's through our form, the earth signs know about that, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, whether it's through our mind, the Gemini, Aquarius, and Libras, whether it's through our soul or our energy of how we lean into our unity, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, or whether our actions speak. We can be silent as the Buddha, and the fire signs will show themselves through action. So let's just go over a quick overview on all the 12 signs, starting with Leo. New moon, all eyes are on you. So just make sure your actions are, in alignment. And in our raw material, Leo represents the feeling pillar, while its complementary sign of Aquarius represents aligning with intention. How many intentions do we have during the day? So the Aquarius energy, not opposite, but complements Leo, is about taking those feeling, authentic, heartfelt intentions and aligning, putting them to effing work. Let's show your work. All right. And so Aries with Saturn and Neptune in your signs, you're being pragmatic and mystical at the same time. You're dissolving your confirmational biases and your ego projections in order to rebuild Saturn. And if you're feeling like an imposter, you fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sag, then pause and say, what conditioning behaviors have I allowed to come into my life? Right. And then with Sagittarius, the wise sage, it's about really getting to the atomic, the subatomic. I mean, spending time in introspection, Sag, always does you well. And that's why there's a hermit side to Sag. That's why there's a part of you that maybe goes on the Australian walkabouts, or whatever you do to kind of pull back and retreat from the day-to-day reality that you set up. Priorities, Sagittarius, priorities, right? And then after Sag, or the fire element, we come to the earth, the Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Well, Taurus, you've got Uranus just left your sign. So the past 6 years, you've probably been at one disruption after another. If you've been too attached to anything physical, whether that's some ass or pinga or whatever, or money or a self-image, Taurus, it's also you can be attached to. All of these things have been disrupted, and Uranus returns to your sign. Oh, he in November 5th, 6th of this year, and he will stay until your sun sign season in April. So you got about 6.5 months of reviewing and consolidating. And then my Bose speaker disconnected. Okay, there we go. So, Taurus, how are you disconnected from your values? How are you not living in equilibrium, right? And Uranus in Taurus from November 5th to about April 24th of 2026 will revisit the 6 years, the 7 years before. All right. Virgo, okay, you know about Mercury retrograde. It happens 3 times a year for approximately 3 weeks. So you can get into the rhythm of reviewing and reevaluating. However, with Mars being on your sign for the next week and a half, you're ending a cycle of discerning how much you give and who gave you that conditioning, mother, father, grandparent, or just the fact that, I'm here to take care of everything. Or if you are kind of, woe is me, mm-mm. Victimization is repelling because on a soul level, on a perception that we're all connected and we're all about evolution, no one's a victim. No one. There are only lessons from the soul perspective. Again, if you want more information, Tavish Cardiff and I have created a system called Our Raw Material, a human way to get your wisdom from inside. Sort of like J.C. Penney, it's all inside. Last but not least is the I utilize sign. I discourage disharmony, Capricorn. Beginning of winter when light returns, and with Saturn in retrograde in one of your most challenging signs of Aries, you are seeking to build new foundations. Make like a turtle or a snail, you Capricorn, and realize that you carry your home wherever you go. And you also need to feel heard in your closest relationships. That's how you unguard or you take off the armor around your heart and the laws of necessity and the woe is me. Because that earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, y'all can go into recreational criticism and pessimism while looking realistic better than anybody. The humanity signs of air of Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, the air signs, well, the Mercury retrograde, you Gemini, but it's just about thinking before you speak, really. And with Venus still in your sign in this retrograde, I would say just continue to make an analog list of those downloads that will come to you really from the 29th of July until August 11th, after the Sun Mercury inferior conjunction, when they conjunct or line up. Sun, Mercury, and Earth on July 29th. And until the August 11th, Gemini, you're in the catbird seat, dreaming about birds, but of course you are. Angels too. Libra, what can I say about you? You values and ideals according to our raw material. And also, Libra, you're about that sweet spot of looking at all perspectives, right? And taking your time to contemplate all perspectives. So, with the North Node in Pisces, you are learning to just surrender to what works for you. And through being a role model, Libra, that's what draws people toward one of your superpowers is influencing the way we think, getting us to see multiple perspectives as if our lives were dramedies with 16 different cameras, basically. And come on, with as many cell phones that are on the planet, well, yeah, anybody can see your perspective from what's going on. And Aquarius, I've kind of already talked about you with a Leo new moon. It's about diving into your heart. And if you're bemoaning how big your heart is or how you're not getting appreciated, are you giving freely, Aquarius, or are you giving from a transactional motivation? All right, water. Certainly last but never least. It's actually the strongest element in the Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu says, be like water, seek your own level. And with a Scorpio rising in Vesta and Juno right at that ascendant, water Scorpio, you are attempting to really focus, even a little bit obsessed, on right relationship, equal relationships. And that also brings in the Jupiter in Cancer. For you Cancer people, everyone is a member of your family, Cancer. And if it feels untrue to you, as that statement about everybody is a member of your family, reflect on the wounds in early childhood, basically prepubescent wounds. Look at food, look at touch, look at smell, look at the five senses, and see if you were ignorant or not allowed to really explore your your body from a place of non-guilt or non-shame. And maybe that you are here to maybe go to a nudist beach or just do things that honor the body, Cancer, because you wouldn't have chosen such a feeling sign if you weren't supposed to learn how to leave the mind or leave the worries behind, a la heat wave of the 70s. Leave, groove line, anyway, you get it. And go into that feeling heart gut space, right? And Pisces, with the North Node in your sign, your most uncharted territory, Pisces, is being activated to see and live from a principle of oneness. How do you do those little things behind the scenes? Do you pick up litter in the park? Do you return a store uh, cart? Do you hold the door for the people behind you? It's just a little. Do you let people in when you're driving? It's just realizing that time is not linear. So what's your rush, Pisces? And I'll tell you, Saturn and Neptune are going to return to your sign. So Neptune's going to take you back to 2012. And so if you want to know more information about when these two heavyweights come back into your season on your sun sign, put it in the comments, subscribe to beliefinotrequired.com, this channel, our raw material. Just reach out. And part of my service is to just be a guide, not here, come on. Our raw material, pillar 4, week 4 is ignorance. And so we ask the question, out of all the knowledge there is to know in the world, or in the universe, what percentage do you feel and think and believe you know? Out of all the knowledge there is to know, what percentage do you feel, think, believe you know? And give me a number in the comment section. You might get a surprise. I appreciate you.